It is the new 98.9 Real Gold Radio. Andy O'Reilly, 10 and 11. It's our feature that we do every day when the interested parties decide to show up. And today we're going to be talking about some of the arts and culture and things going on in Muskegon and Whitehall this weekend. We've got Beth Beaman in here from the Howmet Playhouse. Beth, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me back.
You're no stranger to the place. You've
Not
been
at
here
all.
once or twice. This is a newcomer.
Yes.
Roger Rapoport, who is the you wrote Pilot Error.
Right.
And you've been out promoting this thing for, forever.
Exactly.
It's a big job to do a movie and keep the promotion going, isn't it?
Well, we've been in about 65 theaters. We're going to be at about 200 by the end of the year.
Awesome.
And you'll be glad to know that all the local talent, Kim Harsh, who has a major role in the film, of course, the beaches of Montague, which are featured in the film, are all going to be brought back for those who might have missed it the first time around. And we have our co-star Richard Reilly here from Hollywood, compliments of the Harbor Theater, who have brought him back. And this is a very special event. If you've seen Fried Green Tomatoes, Glory, The Fugitive, Grounded for Life, Office Space, Star Trek, Bridesmaids, or Ferris Bueller, you know who Richard Reilly is.
I'll tell you what, I was doing a little research this morning and looking into it because I knew you were coming. And Richard Reilly, if you're a movie fan, he's, that guy. You know what I mean? It's like, I know him. He's just such a profound character actor, and he pops up in TV, in movies, in independent film, all this kind of stuff. The guy has had a decades-long career.
He began his career with John Wayne and Rooster Cogburn, and he's never let up.
Yeah.
And he'll be there signing autographs.
At the Harbor Theater.
He's also going to be up in Fremont on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And he's going to be introducing Pilot Error. He has a major role in the film.
Yep.
And we're just thrilled to have him in Muskegon on Saturday for the 4 and 7 p.m. screenings. And if you come to the 4 o'clock, you can be over at the Howmet in plenty of time for the Killer Blues Festival.
Yeah, there's a lot going on this weekend.
So there's a lot happening. And, of course, tonight, if you want to go see Peter Pan, you're all set.
I saw it
Perfect
last
weekend.
night. We were there last night at the Fremont to see the Peter Pan. And I put on Facebook last night that I honestly don't do that kind of thing enough. You know what I mean? I'm guilty of not getting out to see a live play. I mean, and there's so much going on. There's the Howmet, there's the Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp that they do Shakespeare all summer long up there. My wife's all excited about those. Then Peter Pan comes to the Froenthal. Mm-hmm. It's just something I don't think of enough, and I don't know that everybody I know does.
Well, Beth and I have collaborated.
Sure.
A lot of her musicians and actors and so forth. We've worked very closely with the Howmet in both of our film productions.
Sure.
And cast many local Whitehall, White Lake area talent.
Yes.
And it's been a great collaboration. Joe Carmoli is one of the stars. Tom Harriman, who was the star in our first film, Water Walk. And, of course, both films were heavily shot in the White Lake area.
Sure.
Yeah, it is really nice to have that connection here, and it's amazing how much talent we actually have right here in West Michigan.
It's a
lot. And
lot.
it's great to have Roger who, draws on that talent and hires these actors to work. So it's a great thing. So
we've got your movie, Pilot. Give us if you were to bump into somebody in an elevator, what would you tell them Pilot Error is all about?
Well, this first-rate investigative reporter loses a friend in an airplane accident that also takes 200 other passengers with it. And her newspaper doesn't feel it's worthy of her talent. She should be covering the garden show and writing about one tank of gas trips. So she quits.
Here and all that stuff in a newspaper, right?
With no knowledge of aviation, she doesn't fly and she doesn't speak French. It's a French airplane.
Yep.
She's determined to get to the bottom of the story and not only find out what happened to the plane, but make flying safer. So it's a woman's empowerment story that's based on a real accident. There really was a French plane that disappeared, just like the Malaysian plane, that they're still looking for with the same team that found the French plane.
And it's strange to me because I think, because we've talked before in the past, Roger and I have over the movie and stuff, and I was watching something or other a week or so ago, and they said that 2014 was one of the deadliest years for planes in the last, since the beginning of flight. It was a terrible year for plane accidents and crashes with those Malaysian flights and everything else. So it's pretty topical still. I mean, it's still a headline in the news, and you've got a movie out about it now.
It's a little more timely than we would like, but it's not just for aviation interest audiences. It's for anyone who really likes a good story about how one person can make a difference. Kind of the way Beth does and you do in your work. The same thing, where you're doing something unique to the community.
Sure.
And the same thing, if the Howmet wasn't here, I mean, this is our number one favorite thing my wife and I do is go to the Howmet because the music is always fantastic.
Sure.
And all the shows are great, and we're lucky to have so much talent that has an opportunity to be showcased in such a wonderful venue.
Absolutely, and that is one thing about the Playhouse is that it does give, especially for musicians, when they contact me or I contact them and reach out and say, "Hey, would you like to do a show?" It's really a great thing for them because they're used to playing at festivals or even in a bar or anything like that, and it's always surprising for them when they come in and people are just sitting there listening to them. There's not a lot of noise going on, so it's a totally different experience.
Sure.
And, a lot of the bands as well as sound engineers come in and say that the acoustics in the Playhouse are just fantastic. You need very little sound reinforcement because it's such a unique building. It's 98 years old, but it still sounds great.
And the star of your show last weekend is a Whitehall singer, right?
Yes, she
fantastic.
is. Yeah, but we had the West Side Soul Surfers in, and their lead singer, she's a Whitehall grad. She used to do the talent shows at the Playhouse when she was a kid. Yeah. So, it was really neat for her to come back and do it all over again.
I'm not going to say this as a braggart or anything, but last night when we were at the Frohenthal for Peter Pan, I'm sitting out in the audience, and it's like 5 minutes till curtains. And it was such a weird experience for me because normally I'm on the other side of the curtain waiting to walk out and introduce whatever's coming up at the Frohenthal, So I'm sitting there in the crowd and I'm like, shouldn't I be doing something? Shouldn't I be backstage reading over a script and making sure I got the last couple of words right and all that stuff? But it's a neat, it's an important thing to change up that experience once in a while, especially for somebody that does it. If I'm out on that stage, I don't get the fan perspective.
Right.
So it was a treat to be there last night and see that. Let's talk Killer Blues this weekend.
Absolutely. The Killer Blues Headstone Project,
yes.
Led by Steve Salter, who's a friend of the show, and he's been in here a few different times to talk about it. That is takes place this Saturday at 7:30. The doors open at 7 o'clock. This is going to be another amazing show for them. And this each year they do this White Lake Blues Festival, and it's a fundraiser for the Killer Blues Headstone Project.
Sure.
And what that is, for the listeners who may not know, is that Steve was inspired when he went to visit some graves of deceased blues artists and found out that they didn't have headstones.
Yeah.
So last I knew, to date, he had placed 41 or 42.
Wow.
So it's a big deal. And,
it is, it's across the country.
Absolutely, across the country, and he's always looking for more opportunities to reach out to these families that may not have had the funds to do this and honor them.
I'd like to say, too, that I think that I think the blues do okay out around Muskegon, but people need to be into it more because that is really a rockin' good time to go to a blues show and be. I mean, because unless you're around it a lot, you hear blues and some slow dragging song. It's not. It's rocking.
I've been to previous shows that he's done, and they're not to be missed. So at 3:30, you come to the Harbor, which. We'll have Richard Reed there to sign your autograph and see a reel of his great films. Watch the movie, do the talkback. Then head on up to Whitehall, have some dinner, see the Killer Blues show. Where else would you want to be?
I can't imagine any place else I'd want to be.
And you know what I'd like to point out? I would like to point out that we've got two competing events technically competing.
Sure.
And they're sitting here together, sharing time, talking about their events, and nobody's punching each other in the face. How easy is this,
Well, the more arts that there are out there, I think the better we all are. And I feel like it's my job, and I know that Roger feels the same way, to support each other because it just makes us a richer community.
I think it's the same way, and that's kind of why I'm here. That's kind of how it works, yeah.
By the way, Beth's husband has a major cameo in the film.
He does.
Oh, really?
He's one of the biggest walk-on parts in the film.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yes. He's standing in the background, texting, looking at his phone while they're at the airport.
That's why I keep bringing Roger around, because I need to be in a movie.
And I almost forgot the star of the movie, Kate Thompson. We discovered her at the Howmet.
How about
in 39 Steps.
Yep, she is a lovely, lovely woman and a really talented actor.
Yeah.
She has been in the play. She's performed at the Playhouse. I used to actually work with her when I worked at Muskegon Civic Theater.
Yep.
She was one of our teachers there, so lucky to have her too in that film. She's
Very
just
cool.
really talented.
Beth Beaman, Roger Rapoport. We'll take care of all this, put it up online at realgoldradio.com. We'll spread it around. Good luck this weekend on Killer Blues. Beth, Roger, pilot error, keep it up. And the next time you do a movie,
we know
about your old buddy Andy over
here.
You're
precast.
I am. I'm like
no audition required for Andy.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thanks, guys. Support the arts out here, and we appreciate you stopping by. The new 98.9 Real Gold Radio.